Yeah.
Hi, I'm Julie Allball, editor of Wedding Market News, and tonight I am with Angela Proffitt and Cristina Goebel from Plan the Day, and we're going to talk about how to get rid of time wasters for bigger profit. So, you know, I know, Christine, that you had talked about, let's kind of learn how you started Plan the Day. Can we learn a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So, long story short, I got married 2 years ago, so I was engaged 3 years ago. And as I was going through the process, I was working full time. I was also working part time. And I was doing a lot of wedding planning, and I had also hired a planner to help me. And I just went through a lot of stress throughout the process. And a lot of the stress came from managing all the different wedding professionals. And they asked me all sorts of emails and questions all the time. Hey, send me your itinerary again, and over again. I couldn't remember, man, what was the last one I sent? Or they wanted certain information, who the other vendors were. So, and that just created a lot of emails back and forth and a lot of communication back and forth. And it was constantly communication and questions towards me all the time. So the funny thing is that my husband, he comes from an IT project management background, and he saw the stress I was going through. So he started looking for a tool and a platform out there that connected everyone, and he didn't find anything. So that's how really Plan the Day was born and why we thought of it. But I think what really clicked with us was my husband had built this Excel sheet with like 8 tabs, and it was all conditionally formatted. And our planner actually wanted what we had.
I was not their
And
planner.
yeah, she was right. So also we had even our DJ and photographer want what we had. So I think that's when it clicked for us that I think we have something here. I think there's a way where we can collaborate and bring everyone in together to be able to see all the details for the big day and really help out those brides, because at the end of the day, they're emotional, they're stressed. A lot of them nowadays are working full time and really need that help. So that's how we thought of Plan the Day and how it came about.
Mm-hmm. So how did you two meet exactly, Angela and Christine?
So I left my full-time job to come full-time with Plan the Day recently back in June. And I started reaching out to planners just across the country. You know, I was really looking for planners with a great reputation, and to be an ambassador for us was really important to me. And I came across Angela, and I literally just was Googling. I was like, okay, planners in Nashville. And Angela came up, and I saw that she was paperless, and I just thought, you know what, I think this is going to be a really great fit. And I just emailed her. And I was like, hey, I just want to learn more about your business, pick your brain. This is what I'm doing. And she reached out and was just with open arms, really willing to learn more and help me out, which I thought was pretty incredible. And it just continued to build from there.
Yeah. Well, how is Plan the Day helping brides, this program?
So Plan the Day currently, how we help brides is we're your online wedding planning organizer. So we have everything from a checklist, budget, inspiration board, guest book management to be able to track all your guests, table number to sending the invites and RSVPs and tracking the accept and decline. So, right, we have a lot of great features and robust tools, but what really makes us unique is the collaborative piece of it. So the fact that mom can be invited in, planner can be invited in, sister can be invited in, really that wedding planning team, DJ, photographer, you name it. And the bride gets to determine who sees what, which is still really nice. So she doesn't want her mother-in-law to see the budget. Well, she just doesn't give her access to it. And the mother-in-law doesn't know she doesn't have access to it either because it doesn't show up on her end. So that's what's unique about it. All the vendors and the wedding professionals can see all the details in the timeline itinerary as it's changing live, be able to message back and forth. The photographer can say, hey, there's not enough time for pictures. This is what you want your shot list to look like, and I recommend you leave this amount of time. Mm-hmm. So everything is tracked on there. And again, it's just that collaboration, bringing everyone together to communicate, come together for her big special day. So yeah.
Okay. Now, you talked earlier about when you got married and how trying to keep all the communication in one place. You seem to always have to be talking with vendors and so forth. How could this platform be helpful for wedding vendors and, brides working together?
Absolutely. So when it comes to wedding vendors, definitely the fact that they can come in and see the timeline, see who they're working with, and have their contact information on the go anytime. I mean, they can pull it up from their phone, make that call, or send that email straight from Plan the Day, see who's all working together, see the timeline. Those are really key big things in the wedding planning process that, especially the timeline that changes. So being able to go in there and just view those things. So day of, or even a few days before, you know exactly where you need to be at what time. You know who you're working with, and you have their contact information. So if anything comes up, you can pull it up really quick. And especially for planners, just the fact that you can have all of your clients on Plan the Day, keep track of them. You can even invite your team in and assign tasks to each other. So there's like a back office business workspace where the bride doesn't see that piece, and you can really run your business on the back end there. Bring your team in, assign tasks to each other. So if anything, heaven forbid, catastrophic happens, your team member can pick up where you left off and see, and has been there in the process as well, being able to see everything. So.
Mm-hmm. Now, as far as, backing up files and sharing information, how could Plan the Day be helpful in maybe those types of areas?
So Plan the Day is on the cloud, is, the best way to explain it. So access it from anywhere on the go. You don't have to worry about losing any of that information. Regarding sharing certain files, you have the ability to share. You can have files public, but you can also have some of the files private, and you can choose to share them with certain people as well. So from like a privacy standpoint, we really have tried our best to really customize that. Most of the planners who use our platform really hone in on really controlling that settings piece and what they're able and how they can share things with certain people. So they're kind of more managing it. Now, if a bride doesn't have a planner, it's going to be more of the bride who's really controlling that piece of it. So.
Well, I know, actually, we had talked earlier today, and I think it's interesting that you were talking about the huge percentage of brides that do not use wedding planners and how this application can be helpful. What is the percentage have you been seeing that as far as brides not using wedding planners?
So recently it's about 73%. It's a pretty high percentage. So we're finding that planners are luxury items. And trust me, I'm a big believer in having a planner. I know my process, or, who I had hired, things didn't go as smooth as they could have gone, but at the same time, she was a lot of help. And she really had the design and decor piece of it that I didn't have. I had all the pictures and I had, okay, here's what I want it to look like, but she created that for me. And quite honestly, like, that's what she was really great at. And she made that happen. I mean, our wedding was absolutely beautiful. And I think a lot of, and I could be wrong, but I feel like a lot of, and Angela can maybe even chime in here. She's a planner and been a planner for years. So that's why I have her next to me, because I think she can provide, her expertise. But from what I've seen, I believe planners really are great at design decor. They're creatives, and that's really what they love to do. Let us take care of all the minutia and the organization, the piece that is not really so fun to track.
Typically, like what I see in the market, because I've been doing this for a long time and I coach a lot of planners, young planners, kind of have two different audiences when it comes to coaching. The first being the young planners. You really have a planner and a designer, and it's two different roles, and oftentimes it's two different people. And the planner is more the logistics person, which should be doing the communication to all the vendors and the timeline and the emails and the back end of the business. my clients would never do that because we do all of that for them. And then you have the creative piece of the design, the floor plan, the ideas, the creative, the wow factor. And it's very rare that I meet someone that has both. And so along my crazy pathway of jobs that I've been in and the path that God has taken me on, I have learned that I actually have both. And it's a curse and it's a great thing. But I enjoy the creative piece. And so I hired someone to do the logistics, who really is more of the planner behind the scenes doing the logistics. I can do it. I know how to do it, but I don't want to do it. Right. So hiring someone that enjoys doing it, that's better than me, and then I focus on the sales and the creative, and I walk brides and grooms into their rooms, and I'm like, close your eyes and think of this, 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 and this. And then I sell them on an idea. And then I have to go behind the scenes and get with my team and get everything together. And it's a lot of moving pieces, lots of emails, lots of communication. And there's so many planners that it just flabbergasts me that they don't use a project management software. They are literally using email. Mm-hmm. And I used to.
In notebook and binders.
Yes,
and paper and pen.
Drives me crazy.
I did that because I didn't have plan day. I had like a sheet, like, to the brim, and I knew I forgot things, or I would lose the Post-it notes.
Yep.
Because I just had things all over the place.
Which is why I'm paperless in the first place, because people say, oh, this really bad thing happened to me, where I say I've had lots of opportunities along my way. And one of the opportunities was in college. Right before graduation, my computer crashed and I lost everything, but I still took it to the computer doctor. And I'll never forget the old man's like, honey, you didn't back it up on a floppy drive. And I'm like, what's a floppy drive? Most of you probably don't know what a floppy drive is. Right. But then came jump drives, then came hard drives, and then time capsule, and then the cloud and Dropbox and Google Drive and all. And so every new thing, I never wanted that depressed feeling again in college. My life, I thought it was so important. I lost like my pictures, but I lost all of my patient notes, and I almost didn't graduate. I worked in a mental hospital in a morgue, so I thought I was going to like check myself in because I wasn't going to graduate. I didn't like school. But I vowed from that point forward, I would never, ever, ever feel that way again. And that's why I'm so passionate about being paperless. Now, I didn't know 15 years later I would be running a business and dealing with billions of dollars of other people's money. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like along my way, God has done things to me to make me realize that I am here to help people and guide people. And then a month later, my purse was stolen. My car was broken into. My little daytime planner that I wrote everything down and crossed it all off, it was stolen too. Oh, so then I learned about keeping my calendar online. And then now I share my calendar online with lots of people, and it cuts down on emails. Yep. I've had my brides that their notebooks have been stolen. Yeah. And I mean, they just cry and cry and cry. So I share these horror stories, as people call them, but to me, they're opportunities to learn, to help you to not do that, or to help other people say, you can't say you didn't know. Right. We told you. Right.
Yeah. Now, I've heard, while I've been on Periscope, I have heard and talked with wedding planners that said, I'm still the notebook person. I'm still the binder that you guys were just talking about. What would you say to them to maybe convince them that they would save so much time and effort by going paperless, and how they might go about doing it?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I guess it depends on the planner. You know, if someone's been doing this 25, 30 years and they're really set in their process and in the way they're doing things, and that's okay. You know, we don't want to force this upon anyone by any means. We're just really here to try and help you. You know, I encourage those planners to be open-minded to changing, and I'm happy to walk them through it. I'm happy to help them through that change, you know? So, you know, I guess I personally am one of those people that anywhere I can grow or make something better, I'm open to that. So I guess that's me personally. But again, it just depends, I think, too.
Well, Well, you have two types of people. You have planners that are set in their ways, that have been doing it for 20 years.
Right.
And then their office floods, and they lose everything. That happened here in Nashville 5 years ago, and everything kind of floated away. And so a lot of the vendors came to me. That's actually how I founded my consulting business, on teaching people how to go paperless.
Right.
Is they came to me and said, okay, Angela, teach us what that drop thing is, and so I had a free class on a Sunday. I said, everybody who wants to come, bring all your stuff. And I just really shared with them our process and what we know, and made it very approachable. And I think people are so intimidated by technology and software because it's unfamiliar territory. And as human beings, unfortunately, we don't change. We don't like change until a tragedy happens. So we're out there as the ambassadors of like, be proactive, save your business. Because unfortunately, a lot of the vendors, well, not a lot, but some, they went out of business. They had to file bankruptcy because they didn't have flood insurance. And then the ones that did rebuild their business, it took about 24 months to get inventory and rebuild and they didn't build files for each client or each planner anymore. I'd set them up on Dropbox and made online folders instead of manila folders or notebooks for them. But it's just teaching them step by step, because we're all busy entrepreneurs. We don't take time for ourselves to teach and train ourselves to make us better. But in the long run, if you take a day a month to educate yourself, work on your business instead of in your business, taking care of everybody else, you would be amazed at how much more productive. But it's not even the productivity part so much about it, because I have some planners, they're like, I don't want to do 100 weddings a year. I don't want to grow my business. I do this for fun. It's just a knack. I'm good at it. And that's okay. But if something did happen to you, or someone did break into your car and they get your notes, that would cause a lot of stress for you and your client. So even if you do 5 events a year, back it up somewhere and use some type of a strategy so it's safe.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Now, I've seen some of the comments as they come through, and one person wanted me to verify that this is a phone app, or if it's something that also can be used on your laptop. I guess they weren't quite certain.
Yes, that's a great question. Currently, it is a web app. So what that means is you can go on Google and just go to plantheday.com. You can save it as a bookmark to your phone. So you have that little, looks like an app icon. And we actually built it mobile friendly first. So it really looks and feels like an app. And we are actually currently working on our native iOS app as well. So that is to come.
Mm-hmm. Now, I noticed Sabrina was talking in her comments and so forth on the side, and she was talking about some of her customers are not really technology savvy. So that's why, in her case, it works, I guess, for the binders. But if she's working with other brides that maybe are technology savvy, then maybe she could, do that for them. But I can understand that, it's.
Well, and Sabrina, lots of my coaching clients that just come to my classes just to check it out, I get that at least 5 people in my class. Well, they say 2 things. My bride or the parents, they're scared of technology, or it can scare people away. I get that all the time as well. And I've also had people tell me it's rude. They feel that it's rude that I am typing or on my phone or my iPad as we're doing site visits and meetings. So again, you have to set the expectation. So when someone is interviewing me, I'm actually interviewing them as well. I tell them this is our process. If you're not familiar with Dropbox, Google Drive, Plan the Day, all photo management, whatever applications we're using, once they hire me, I take their phone, I put 3 apps on it. I teach them. It takes 5 minutes. And then I even have videos that I share with them. And I'm like, this is what you push to get your quotes. This is what you push to see your budget. And it's 1 click away. Everything is there for you. It has cut my emails down by 350 plus emails a day. Because if you have lots of clients, they have the same questions over and over. So this is a proven process that we've used for years. And then in terms of me being rude and not engaged, again, I set the expectation and I tell clients, I'm a planner. I'm great at multitasking, and you want someone who's good at listening to 10 conversations at once. So the entire time we're meeting or we're walking and we're talking to the florist and the lighting vendor and we're doing all these things, I might be on my phone, but I'm in your timeline and I'm taking notes the entire time. So you have to do nothing. And oh, by the way, I'm taking pictures that go into your folder too. So at the end of the day, when you go home and we've spent 9 hours together designing and talking logistics, your fiance, if he or she can't be there, you can go through and say, look at all the things we talked about today. And so it really shifts the culture when you educate what your expectations are and what the client expectations are. And then there's no miscommunication.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'm going to, for those of you that in the audience that might have questions, if you want to go ahead and type in some questions in the messages, I'll be looking at those as we go through the broadcast. But I am, if you are on Periscope, you might want to send your questions also to the weddingmarketblab.com. If you have a Twitter account, you can also join us on weddingmarketblab.com. So we'll be looking for all the questions on Blab. Somebody, I just happened to notice there's a comment that came through on Periscope about invoicing and contracts. Is there anything that you can do with those kinds of items in the app?
So Plan the Day doesn't do that yet.
Right.
And I can speak to that. There's, just so you guys know, we use about 32 apps probably on a daily basis to completely run our company paperless. I know that seems like a lot, but once you're into the routine, it's like first nature. Like I can do it in my sleep. My folders are really, really anal on my phone. But we use an app. It's a free app called Hours Keeper. And we track all of our time. It keeps up with everything. It spits out really fancy, nice looking invoices. And we do have QuickBooks that also does invoicing. There's an app for that. It's an online platform, but that's more for my accountant because it's not as easily accessible as Hours Keeper. And if an app has more than 2 clicks, I'm not going to use it. Mm-hmm. Someone had asked about carrying list agreements and checklists. So in terms of like a to-do list, if you have a to-do list, like that's something that Plan the Day does, that you can access it on your phone or your iPad, you know, if you're on the go. There's also a free app called Wonderlist that we use on our phone. In terms of agreements, we use DocuSign. There's other things out there where, again, everything is paperless. A lot of my brides like Sign Easy, which is the same thing as DocuSign because you get 10 free things that you can sign. So we have them sign everything with their finger on their phones. And again, I show them how to do this so it's not foreign to them. And then for the floor plans, there is an application called TouchDraw that is specific to the iPad. And I believe it's a $8 app, but I would pay thousands of dollars probably for it because I build my floor plans on the go. So as I'm walking and talking through a venue with a client, or sometimes I have to do it virtually, I am building something and I'm engaging them and they are excited and they can see it coming to life as I'm visually talking them through the process. And then when we're done at the end of the day, I email it to the client, I put it in their Dropbox, I share it with the florist, the lighting, the drapery, the venue person. I mean, there are some venues that have like their own CAD programs, but I like to be real hands-on.
Yeah, and to expand a little bit about the checklist function, in Plan the Day currently we have a checklist creator function, which we created for planners. So let's say that you have certain checklist items that you want to make sure that the bride completes. So you can actually create that checklist and it automatically will go into the bride's checklist. So it'll be like one of the options and then you just click it and then all those checklist items that you created as your template goes in there for her. You can even take it a step further and just add them based on like your client and some things you want to remind her about. You can put a time frame on it and everything. So we actually just did that recently, creating that template form. You can create as many as you'd like. We currently have a planner who does a lot of Indian weddings. So she has a specific checklist template for Indian weddings, which are different from her other weddings. So I wanted to elaborate a little bit on that and how Plan the Day can help with that. And then regarding layouts, have you heard of social tables?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm very familiar.
Yeah. So social tables is a company we've talked to regarding doing a possible partnership with them, because that has been a few questions we've gotten to. So,
yeah, that's right. Someone said, so they said they use Planning Pod, which I'm very familiar with Planning Pod. I actually used the guy who wrote that. It was called something else before Planning Pod. And Planning Pod's a little bit different in it serves kind of a different purpose. I think that it is mainly for planners, where Plan the Day can really help a bride and then also help planners as well, but helping engage other vendors serving the communication piece. So the functions are very different. In fact, there's some applications that we use, like Dropbox and Google Drive are similar, but we use Dropbox to only drop quotes in that we are not editing, because there's been some confusion if multiple people have it open. And then we use Google Drive when we are editing things, because that's live. You can always restore your backup if somebody messed something up. So there's lots of applications out there that do some of the same functions, but you really have to try new things and be open-minded to see what works best to make your business the most efficient.
Absolutely.
Now, one of the questions, email is so crazy. How do you get out of email jail?
Great one. So currently, we really thought about that when we were building Plan the Day. And what we've done is that anytime you communicate with anyone in Plan the Day, you actually get an email sent to your email inbox. The cool thing is that you can respond from your email inbox, and that email and that conversation is tracked in Plan the Day for you automatically. So you can delete that email knowing that it's already saved in Plan the Day for you. So it's helping so you don't have to worry about, crap, where did that email go? Or, man, I have to folder this one email into this folder. And really tracking all that can really take a lot of time. So we actually created that. So anytime you go and Plan the Day, you can see the conversation strings at any time. And it's all saved in there for you.
And also, when you are opening up access to family, moms, dads, father-in-law, future mother-in-law, bridesmaids, groomsmen, vendors, and you train them, every time they have a question, say, go to Plan the Day, go to Plan the Day, invite. You're training them to get their information from one hub, and it cuts down on all of those questions and all those miscommunications that come up. I mean,
or text messages.
Yes.
You can, sometimes I'm sure your clients will text you or Facebook you, or you have. I know she probably has like long list of, this is what you can do, this is what you can't do.
I'm like, don't text me.
Yeah.
Because you won't ever hear from me. It's way quicker to email me, because it goes to Allison, who's amazing at communication. Right. Because I'm in meetings all day.
But not everyone's like that.
Yeah, right.
Everyone has the process she has in place, right? So, because I remember I had wedding professionals texting me. So
yeah.
So it's nice to just keep that, which is fine. Yeah. But then I couldn't remember, well, when did I say this? Was it a text message? Was it a Facebook message? Was it an email? So again, it's just trying to eliminate
all the more while Plan the Day creates structure. It creates one hub. And if you communicate the expectation early on, that this is the way we are going to communicate to plan my wedding. And for emergencies, I do have people that text me, and of course I'll respond as soon as I can. But there are some people that's just how they want to communicate, and they'll send me these big long texts. I copy it, I paste it into an email, and I send it to Allison. Because she needs to know what's going on.
Right.
Because if we're not on the same page as a team, which is where everything is tracked in the software, then our system breaks. It's not because I'm a brat, because I don't want to communicate or be a good responder. It's just that to embrace the process and the strategy that we know works. And it's been tested and proven. We don't want to break that communication, because that's where miscommunication comes in. That's where stress comes in, creates problems.
Yeah.
So we really don't make exceptions for anybody.
Now, somebody had a question. Do you think the platform will take care of not having a wedding planner? That was what one of the people have made in their comments. What would be your thoughts?
So something I always say is Plan the Day can help you throughout the process, but it's not going to be their day of to make sure that your day goes perfectly. It's not going to do the design and decor and the creative piece that, I loved that piece about my planner. I could just show her what my vision was and what I wanted, and she created that for me. Plan the Day can't do that. Plan the Day, absolutely not. We can only get you so far. We can help you with the minutia and the organization, but we can't be their day of to make sure that everything is going on time and to make sure that the design decor piece is exactly what you want it to be. So absolutely not.
It's not to replace something. It's a tool to help people be more proactive, professional, communicate. We could create robots. Timers. I bet you I'm going to invent that one day.
No one steal it from her.
I'm patenting it tomorrow. Oh, that's trademark. But it's not, again, it's like in some of the planners that are set in their ways, they do feel this threatened by I'm like, it's software. It's a tool it's an extension of you to help you manage 45 vendors and 5,632 emails and 3,000 pictures. And it's just a way to keep everything in one, which for some planners who do want to do more weddings, if you're a one-woman show or one-man show, you can only manage so much.
Right.
But when you start to control that, you can expand your team because you have a place to share the platform.
Right.
And when you expand your team, you can take on more. So when a bride calls you and says, can you do June 6th, which where I'm from, June is the most popular date. I don't know why, or the popular month. It's hot as hell here.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's very popular. You don't have to say no. You can say, absolutely, I can help you. I tell brides when they're like, well, are you booked that day? How many events do you have that day? I'm like, it doesn't matter how many events I have that day. I have an amazing team.
Right.
It's not about me. I'm just a chick with some cool ideas trying to get into your head psychologically to find out what you're like so I can help create an atmosphere for your guests that's going to come into your wedding. But without my team, without my execution team, I'm, again, just a chick with cool ideas. So I make sure that the client knows, hey, it's not about me. It's about like 50 other people and hands that can execute and understand my communication throughout the process. So that's why Plan the Day is awesome, because everything can be kept there. And instead of vendors emailing me saying, Angela, can you send this picture to me again? Or what were you talking about that huppa? If I've shared something with them, they can go on and see all of that. So it cuts down on questions and text for some people and emails, and it's such a much more efficient process.
Now, if you wanted to share any closing thoughts on Plan the Day, what else would you share?
That's a great question. I think I would just say that, we're really here to help you. And we're really looking for just great feedback. So, we do provide Plan the Day for free for wedding professionals for the back office piece of it. So being able to track all your contacts, especially from like a networking standpoint, having all that in there, assigning tasks to your team members, so invite your team members in, checklist creator. We've got a few things in there that we've built to really help you. And so I would just encourage all of you to just check it out, look into it, personally email me and tell me what you think. Tell me what you would like to see, because we have our development team in-house. So if there's something you really want, we're definitely open to hearing from you. We want to hear from you. We want this tool to be the best tool out there for professionals and for brides. Mm-hmm. So our goal is to really grow.
Mm-hmm. Now, you had a program, I think an affiliate program or something that you have developed for wedding planners. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we're looking into providing a planners, champion program across the U.S. And we're looking for, planners who are wanting to grow their business, in that market. So if this is something that you're interested in, it's complimentary. We're accepting applications. So currently, if you just want to email me to learn more about it, then you can do that, and we can kind of go from there.
Okay. Now, where can they find more information about Plan the Day and about Angela?
Absolutely. So just go to www.plantheday.com, and that's where you can learn more. And in my personal email too, if you want to personally reach out to me, I'm more than happy I would love to hear from you. And my email is Cristina.Goebel, and let me spell that out because it's not easy. Of course, my name's complicated. It is Cristina, so no H, .Goebel, that's Goebel, @plantheday.com.
And my website is angelaproffitt.com, and it's P as in Paul, ROFF as in Frank, ITT, 2 F's and 2 T's, .com. We have to spell things out for a living. Yeah. Every day, 5 times a day.
Well, I really appreciate both of you coming on and giving such great information about how to be more productive and how this application can be helpful to planners as well as brides. So, but we will have more blabs in the future, and you will be able to subscribe to our upcoming Wedding Market Blab by going to weddingmarketblab.com. I want to say thank you to all of our Wedding Market members who have joined us today, and you will be able to see a replay of this broadcast. You should receive a notice of this afterwards, but we will also share it on weddingmarketnews.com as well. So, we want to thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll see you next time. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.